Hello, my name is Ariel and I'm finally back with a new video, and not just an updates video, but like a proper video. It's about dang time, right? Although I will give a little bit of an update right now because I have been gone for so long. If you've seen my previous update videos, you'll know that I've moved, and if you haven't seen my previous update videos, I moved. Specifically, I moved across country, and I've been sleeping on a couch for a little while I wait for my new place to be ready for me to move into it. Which is why I have not been making any new videos or posts, because all of my sewing stuff was in storage, and even if it wasn't, I didn't really have a place to sprawl out and sew or film. All of that stuff was packed away. Which leads me to say sorry about the sound, because I cannot find my mic. It is somewhere. I might just end up buying a new one. Actually, this might be a good time to buy a new mic. If you want to give me some recommendations on mics that are pretty good and hopefully not too expensive, I'd appreciate that in the comments. Because these idle hands always need to have a project, I did make good use of my time with all my sewing stuff packed away. I learned a new skill. A friend of mine taught me how to crochet, so I've been crocheting all over the place. Allow me to give you a quick rundown of some of the things I've made since learning to crochet in November. I made a shitty scarf, a capelet that makes me feel like a Victorian peasant woman, gloves that further the Victorian peasant vibe, a half sweater, a half shirt, a manta ray for my mother, a nasty tooth for a friend, a couple of headbands, a scarf for my steering wheel, and I am currently working on a pair of booties for my feet because it's snowing outside and I moved from Florida with no winter clothes. And that's enough about the things I make in my own time. Let's get into the things I'm going to make today. So I am officially moved into my new space now. I will be making a future video cataloging the space, the house, the whys, and the behind the scenes, I suppose. But for now, we're just going to stick to the project that I'm working in because I'm currently still setting up and settling in. Not everything is where I want it to be. It is still a little bit of chaos here until I figure out where everything's gonna go, like the home for everything. And there's also a lot of things I do need for this space that I don't have yet, including the thing I'm going to be making today, which is a pair of curtains for my skylight window above my sleeping loft. I thought it was a really good idea to put a skylight in my loft so I can sleep under the stars and have extra light up in there, extra ventilation when it's open for the summers, and, you know, just extra headroom in general because it is a sleeping loft, it is not a standing loft. And for the most part, it is a good idea, except I did not take into account how goddamn bright the moon is. It's like being under a miniature sun when I'm trying to sleep. The curtains don't need to be totally light preventing, but a little bit of privacy from the peepers of the moon would be nice. Peepers' eyes are okay though. I also don't need birds and squirrels hanging out and seeing what I do. Hello. So my plan is to put the tension rods right about here, going all the way across so that the curtain is real close to the window, but then having it drape down here and go into the back side of this by a little hook that's right here. That way it comes down and drapes, and that provides a little extra cushion for right here that will block a little bit of the light seeping through, and it'll also hopefully block a little bit of wind as well, just to prevent this from getting too drafty. Also, don't mind the fact that I painted on this because I was getting pretty tired of painting a ceiling by the time I got to this window. I'm going to do the same thing here. Probably put the tension rod up here, and then probably put a wire probably on the back of this. That way it drapes down and goes here, and that way I have a little more coverage on the light. Also, I think it will look cooler. And cool is what I aim for. So that is what I'll be tackling today, and without further ado, let us begin. This here is Freddie Mercury. He is actually my shop cat. He's just visiting right now while it winter storms out there, and he has been an utter menace. Absolutely. But we love him. Oh yeah, cry it out. Sing it loud, Freddie. Sing it loud. First step is to take measurements of the window. As you can see, there isn't a lot of headspace thanks to my 18-inch mattress, so having curtains as close to the glass pane as possible is important. I measured the width, 25 inches. And then I measured the length. I'm sure there's easier ways to do this, but I much prefer to put my whole body into things when I can. Four feet. Exactly. With a 3-inch flange on each side and a 6-inch flange on the bottom means I need to cut a panel that is 32 by 54 inches. For these panels, I'll be using a black lightweight cotton. I understand that lightweight cotton is generally better for blouses than curtains, but I am neither general nor better. Not to mention, this curtain is going to be hung horizontally on 2 tension rods, so weight is an issue. Lightweight cotton is, well, lightweight. And I have a lot of it, so I can make 2 full-width panels. That way I can get that sweet gathering that real drapes have, while not being too heavy for the tension rods. Alright, so remember when I said I have enough fabric to make 2 full-width panels? I lied. I'm about 9 inches too short to make these panels, so here I am calculating whether I really need that 9 inches or not. Ultimately though, a crop top curtain just doesn't work for a skylight window, so I will be cutting the panels in half equally, and then trimming about a 5-inch strip from each side. These strips will get pinned to the bottom of each panel to add about 4 inches of length. The curtains won't be full width now, but with 2 panels, it won't hopefully be that noticeable. I then trim the extra bits off the strip and repeat for the other side. Then with the remaining strips, I mark them into smaller 2-inch strips and cut them out. Also, can we take a moment to appreciate that out of all of this fabric, these 2 offcuts are my only remnants? You gotta love it. With all of my material cut, I sew the bottom strip to the panel. And if you're wondering how adding 4 inches will make up for the 9 inches I need, it won't, but it will be less egregiously off. I just won't have as much for the flange that I was hoping for, and that's okay. We can make adjustments. Now, normally I would just serge this edging super simple, but my serger is on holiday still, so instead I'll be using a zigzag stitch to finish the edge. You know what? I hate it. Instead, I'll cover the raw edges with thin black bias tape, first securing it with a straight stitch, then folding it over and going over that with a narrow zigzag. After I iron it flat, I then top stitch along the seam edge so everything lays nice and flat, like a well-fitting sports bra should. Next, I roll all the edges, iron, and repeat before going over the hem with a straight stitch. And that's about it for the panels. So you recall those strips? They are to become the straps that hold the rod in place. I make these by folding them in half and sewing them into tubes. Those tubes get turned and then ironed flat. There are 12 in total.
Hey, listen!
My supervisor, Mr. Black, informs me it's snacky time. He's very passionate about his snackies. After a quick bite, it's back to work, and these straps will get a decorative top stitch on each side, and then they are ready to be pinned to the panels. I found these tension rods for ants at Home Depot. I test pin a few strips to figure out the placement and discover pretty quickly a problem. You see, with 12 strips and 2 panels that need 2 sets of straps, I only have 3 straps per side. And when I lift the rod up, I have these gaping sections that just aren't going to cover nothing. What I need is more strips for straps. Luckily, that's easy to do. Perfect. This next step, you might say, is the sewing equivalent of babbling, and you would not be wrong. Instead of folding over the raw edges, I decided it's a good idea to cover the ends with bits of bias tape. Every single end covered twice with bias tape. And in case you didn't figure that out, that's 12 straps that were cut into 24 straps that now need bias tape on each end. So that's 48 times I need to sew things down twice because I need to do the top stitch and then the fold over stitch. Allow me to explain my thought process though. Using double-folded bias tape allows me to finish the raw edges without losing any length to folding over edges. Not to mention, I can eat up some of the random bits of bias tape. Plus, if I situate the fabric strips in just such a way, then I'm actually gaining like half a millimeter on each end, thus making this a net gain all around. It's genius, really. After this, I cut them apart until I'm left with a perfect pile of tiny textiles. Thank you, Mr. Black, for holding my textiles. You're just such a good holder of things. Next, I pin the straps in place. I have the ones on the end set to 3 inches in from the sides and 3 inches up from the bottom. The remaining 4 straps are then pinned 6 inches apart. As a side note, does anyone else's cat chitter at random stuff for no reason? Because Pepper always chitters when I use this metal ruler, and I don't know why. Do all cats do this, or is it just my cat that's special? For the side with the extra flare, the straps are pinned 3 inches in from the side and then 5 inches up from the bottom. Excuse me, sir. Sorry that I'm in your prime sitting area. Lastly, I sew the straps down, making a little box around the bias tape ends. And I give it a quick test. Then it is time for the reveal. And there you have it, another project down. I know the reveal doesn't really seem like there's a lot of difference between having the curtains closed and having them open, but believe me, there is a huge difference in the light that gets into that loft. It's been real wonderful It's like being able to turn off an ever-on street light, and sleeping has been fantastic since then. And it is a shame that I couldn't have made the ends longer so I can actually do that draping effect that I thought would look so cool, but the fringe hides the edges well enough that oh my gosh, can you eat louder? Can you eat louder, sir? Sir, can you eat louder? Thanks. It is a shame that the ends were not long enough to do that draping effect over the frame like I really wanted, but the ruffles from the fringe do cover like the edging around the window, which was really my biggest concern of light escaping through the ends. The things I would like to change, or update rather, is put a strap on the panel where the ends meet in the middle, because that drapes down and hangs a little limply and it's kind of useless there. Having it as one panel across the skylight, it's fine because that hangs over the side and covers up the edging. However, I think I'm always going to be using two panels, so really they don't need to hang limply in the middle there. Speaking of signs, there is a bit of a gap between the curtains and the window frame, and a little light does come in that way, but it's easy to fix. I think I could just put some Velcro along the inner part of the window and just kind of Velcro the fabric up there. I can also jazz up the fabric and make it a little more opaque by adding a fancy lace overlay in the future. But for now, I'm really happy with how it looks and how it came out, and it functions exactly as I want it to. So I'm just happy with it for now. What? More curtains and decorative items that I need to make anyway. And if you liked this video and would be interested in seeing more home decor type of sewing, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to make more videos if that's something that interests you. Speaking of future videos, from here on out, I do hope to be posting more regularly. I would really like to put more effort into higher quality production on my videos, and I just can't get the level that I want it to be at with a 1 to 2 week deadline. I unfortunately cannot adhere to a strict schedule right now. I can't promise any of that, but I will try at the very least to have a new video every month. At least one new video. That much I think I can do. Also, I did a lot of filming before moving because I had planned originally to have a bunch of videos scheduled and there would be like a seamless shift from old place to new place. So in the next coming months, you will see a sprinkling of those old footages from way back when I lived across the state, or across the country. And before I go, I want to give a huge thank you to you. You have been so kind and so generous with your patience with me. I know I didn't give you much information about what's going on with me, and I've left you in the dark for many, many months, and I really appreciate all the support you've shown me. Believe me, there were moments that I just kind of wanted to hang up my YouTube hat and say I had a good run of it and just not come back at all, but some of the comments that you've left or the words that you've said to me have really inspired me, have really motivated me, and just touched me in my heart. And I just want to say I appreciate you and thank you for being so kind and supportive and just being here during my journey on YouTube. I'm so thankful. And going forward, I hope to be more active and attentive with what's going on and updates on the YouTube community tabs. I also have a Ko-fi account at Leopard Lady Vintage and an Instagram account at Snowman Leopard that I hope to get back into doing regular updates for. So if you want to follow me and see what's going on with me, I will have stuff there. Lots of hints to like new videos coming out and projects I'm working on. I will post the links to those in the description below. And I want to give one last thank you to you for watching. You are the best. And until next time, I hope you have a good day. Bye. But then, in addition to having the tension rod, I'm also going to put... Hello. Yes? What's up? Yeah, good Peppa. Good Peppa. Its legs. No, no, you can't. No. No, I know you think you're a delicate little kitten, but you are not. Stay off there.